All right, y'all. Welcome back to the podcast, Dark Spirits, Dark Sports NFL Podcast. Want to just say this week was a really special week in the NFL, man. So many surprises. Just when you think you got stuff figured out, man, these teams will always do stuff to throw you off. But one of the things that I did like was the Houston Oilers, now known as the Tennessee Titans. You know, they actually put the throwbacks on. They put the oil derrick on the field, and that was really, really good. Foreshadowing. That was a good game. But before that, let's go ahead and talk about the Amazon Thursday night football game. So my prediction for this game was that Buffalo would find some way to win, and they did. I was happy about that. Now, for the record, I'm back up to 5-2 on my predictions for Amazon Thursday night football. They got the win. I'm happy about, but I mean, the Bills are just too inconsistent right now to really count on. But you know, they're 5-3, right there behind the Dolphins, so they're kind of hanging in that division, but kind of making me nervous. You really don't know what you're going to get with them any week. Next up, let's talk about the Falcons at the Titans. So I'm a Titans fan for this season anyway, just because I got them picked to win that division, and this is exactly what I wanted to see. I said before, I think it was in like maybe week 2, that if they can find some way to keep Tannehill out of the equation, they usually win. There was no Ryan Tannehill in this game. You got to win. They put in the new guy, Will Levis. He had a really good game. DeAndre Hopkins, 3 touchdowns. Overall, it was just a good win against the Falcons, who are now 4-4, tied with the Saints to lead that division. Overall, this was just a good team. The throwback colors, a good win. They dominated. I love this game. Next game, we're going to talk about the Eagles at the Washington Commanders. Now, I remember the first game, it was the Commanders at the Eagles, and that started off bad. It was like the Eagles were down. It went to overtime. The game was decided by a kick. This was another really, really good game. I mean, the Commanders probably put everything they had into this game. It just wasn't enough. But like at the halftime, Eagles were down. Me and my son were watching this together, and I was like, oh my God, here we go again. But the cream always rises to the top. A.J. Brown had that circus catch along with another crazy touchdown. Jalen Hurts came through like we needed him to do. Solid game. 29 completions for 319 yards and 4 touchdowns. We pulled it out. Right now, Eagles have the best record in the NFL at 7-1. That means something. These next 2 games are kind of like meaningless victory games. So let me talk about this. First one, Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. This was an anomaly. Mahomes had the flu. They had like 5 turnovers in this game. It was a big loss. They only scored 9 points, probably because of what I mentioned before. But this is a meaningless victory because if you look at the stats here, the Broncos are still 3-5 at the bottom of that division. And guess who's at the top? The Chiefs, 6-2. Raiders, I mean, they just now fired their head coach and the GM and everything else, so they're not doing anything. And the Chargers, they just can't seem to get it together. So, yes, this was a division loss, and it hurts overall on the record, but I'm not worried about this at all. The other meaningless game here was the Bengals beating the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is of note in that the 49ers have lost their last 3 games, but they still don't have any Deebo Samuels. And like I said last time, it looks like if you don't have Deebo and McCaffrey together, it's just kind of like a different team. But, you know, when you go undefeated for so long like they did, when they were like 6-1 or something, you give yourself room to lose a few games. They lost their last 3. They're still in it. And if you look at the standings here, I mean, you will see that Cincinnati Bengals, similar to like I said before, they're in the cellar in that division, tied for 4-3 along with the Browns and the Steelers. Steelers are playing tomorrow, Thursday night, and I actually have them picked to lose that game. So this was a meaningless victory. But yeah, Burrow looked good. It's just meaningless. But hey, they'll take it. Finally, I want to talk about the Thursday night football game tomorrow. This is going to be the Tennessee Titans versus the Steelers. So in my lead-in, I was already talking about how, you know, I'm pulling for the Titans this season. This is going to be a tough game. What kind of makes me nervous is that, yeah, Will Levis had that crazy game, but this is a rookie quarterback, and they're coming off a short week. They just played Sunday. They're not going to practice that much. this game is kind of making me nervous. I'm not expecting to see the type of performance we saw from Will Levis, but the Steelers' offense was looking really bad last week. Kenny Pickett has a rib injury. He may not play. If he does, it'll be reduced, or they may put in a backup. I mean, this is kind of going against, what I would usually pick, but because the NFL is so unpredictable, I'm gonna go with the Titans here. I think that last win they got kind of was like a shot of adrenaline, and I'm just gonna believe that they're gonna go into Tennessee and pull out the win somehow, some way. Man, if they could do that, that would be gigantic because it's really hard to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. But that's what I'm going with. That's all I got for this week, everyone. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I'll be back with more next week. I may be taking a bye, so if you don't see a podcast next week, it's because I'm taking a break for that week. If not, hey, we'll see you then. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for listening. Dark Spirits signing off.